Wonderful. Let us acknowledge that we reside on the ancestral lands and waters of the Coast Salish people, who have called this place home since time immemorial. And let us honor inherent Aboriginal and treaty rights that have been passed down from generation to generation. Dave, go ahead.
Maybe do the Pledge of Allegiance. Tom, you have the flag for us?
All right.
There it is.
Okay, is that okay, Mr. Chairman? We pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag
flag
of the United
of the United
States of
States of
America
America.
and to the
And to
republic
the republic
for which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
Liberty
and
and
justice
justice.
and
for
justice
all.
for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, now we will do the roll call, and I am just going to call out who I see on the screen. My Mr. Rogers neighborhood kind of thing. I see we have Patty and Tony and Bob
Present.
O'Connell, and Richard Grout and Tom Starr and Paul Dossett and Dave Anderson, Janet Barnell, Sharon Abreu, Bill Apple, Olivia Roseberry, Maureen C., Liz Lafferty, and Emery Shanks are all present. Did I miss anybody?
Dave Dellendorf?
I don't see him present.
Where is it?
Yeah.
Oh, there you
Okay, so that's who we have present. We will try and acknowledge members if they show up late. So we have the minutes from October 13th meeting. Does anybody want to move? Anybody have any suggestions or edits or any concerns with those minutes? Patty?
couldn't find them.
I couldn't find them either.
Nor could
I
I.
don't have them.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't think the last minutes appear to be October 6th.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So I thought they had been sent out by Catherine. It seems that not everybody received them, or maybe they weren't sent out. So that's okay, because as we'll discuss in just a moment, I'm hoping we're gonna have a very short meeting on Monday. And so we will adopt those minutes in this evening's minutes at that point in time.
Okay.
So why don't we hold off on the adoption of the October 13th meeting minutes at this point in time? Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, that's good.
Great, great. Okay. So a couple housekeeping things for this evening. I'm hoping this is a short meeting and that it will be maximum till 5 o'clock. So be finished by 5 p.m. at the latest. And we will still reserve to go to public comment at 4:50. And so at least I will have to stay on at that point unless we have members of the public here. Actually, you know what? I don't know if I think we can do public comment earlier because I don't believe it was advertised. No.
Special meeting.
Yes, the timing for public comment was not advertised, so we will go to public comment earlier if we can. The other thing, in addition to 1 hour max meeting, is actually we'll get into it on the agenda. So on that agenda, sorry, I'm bouncing back and forth between screens. So next would be the discussion of the recommendations to the county council. If members don't mind, I'd like to kind of combine agenda items 4 and 5 and just have a discussion and share some concepts for how we conclude our work, and then we can hear from each other on if that fits and if it doesn't. Is that okay with folks?
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, coming out of the election, and Bob mentioned this to us several times, that if one of the amendments did not pass, the one for 2022 was not as likely. Is that still your case, Commissioner O'Connell?
If the recommendation isn't, I'm not entirely sure I understood your question.
On the amendments, so we had 3 amendments for 2022. I believe now we have 2.
Well, there's ranked choice voting. There's the
Public advocate.
process cleanup and the public advocate.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
On the county website, we only have 2
Isn't that-
listed right now, so we need to correct that on the public website then.
Does everybody know what I mean when I say the process cleanup one?
No,
The budget one for the.
Yeah, there's the budget, and then
the commission.
how and when we close work all that business that we just wanted to put down black. We worked pretty hard on it and
Yeah.
finally came to a conclusion and voted on it. Just one of our very last meetings voted on it.
Yep. Maureen?
But Bob, you had said all along, if something didn't pass on the 21 ballot, that it wouldn't appear on the 22.
Are you possibly,
You're talking,
that if something did not pass, that it wouldn't appear on the 22?
But then the 22.
Why would it appear
submit-
on the?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Well, I think what we did discuss was the possibility that if a certain measure didn't pass, and we could discern from the public or otherwise, or talking to the folks who wrote the minority report here or whatever, what parts of a salvageable amendment would be acceptable, that we might rewrite that amendment. An example would be the initiative and referendum. I think it's pretty clear that the part that they didn't like was the money part about putting down the financing. But there are other important things that now won't be included, that could be included if we took that portion out, if that was acceptable to people. That's an example. And to knock down from 15% to 8%, important development, may be palatable to everyone. So that's an example of what I meant.
Okay. Patty?
I'm not addressing that exactly. I'm addressing the other issue where Bob was talking about if amendment 1 didn't pass,
Oh,
then one of the recommendations was to make
That's right.
sure that they paid attention to amendment 1.
that's
And I
right.
think amendment 1 is passing, but it's-
By 35 votes right
but
now,
yeah, so
with
that would still
150
be a
votes.
recommendation
About a half percent.
if it passes.
The trend is likely to continue. So it looks like we will have number 1, is it 2? 2 and 5
5.
as passing. So half of them passed. It's obvious that the folks did not like the commissions. That's okay. Olivia, can you check the waiting room? I think that Commissioner Fuller might be trying to get in.
She's already in.
Where?
Where?
We don't see her.
She popped in earlier and then it looks like she left.
She just texted me and said, sorry to divert from the agenda here, but she just texted me and said, I'm trying to join the meeting and it says the host has locked the meeting.
I'm completely capable of letting everyone in. I let her in and then she left. So tell her to try again.
That's what I just did. Okay. So sorry to be bouncing around on the agenda here as far as what was written, but I think this is important. My hope this evening, let me just lay this out and you guys tell me if this makes sense, is that coming out of this evening, we will have very clear direction on where we are with our final amendments for 2022. We already have the recommendations. The current amendments that we have for 2022 and the recommendations have already been voted upon. What we have yet to do is finalize how we're going to present those to the county council. And I wrote an email several weeks back kind of laying out ideas on this that I'll reiterate tonight. And then the other piece is the resolution. And so Jane says it still doesn't work. I'm going to ask her to contact you, Olivia.
Working on it.
You. Okay. So the first question then is are there commissioners who have anything else they'd like to add other than the 3 amendments that we have for 2022 and I can't remember how many it is, 8 recommendations or something that we have. Okay, and so let me clarify the question. I see Paul and Bob and then Dave. What I'm asking is, do people want to come up with new amendments or new recommendations? And so but if so, I'll go with that. So Paul?
Well, to Bob's point, I think back in February, when we all listed what we were going to bring to this commission for proposals, I brought forward the initiative. drop it from 15 to 10%. And since it obviously it took its own life and we've added the other portions that I'm agreeing with Bob that I think it caused it to fail. I believe that if it was by itself, just a simple one to drop it from 15 to 8%, it would pass. Now that's obviously an opinion, but I'm talking to a lot of people over here in San Juan. I got the impression that they just did not like the rest of the baggage that was with it.
Bob,
Yeah, I believe that is probably true. I would ask this of Paul. Do you think it would pass if we simply extracted the money part of it out of there and we left in both the 15 to 8% and the identification of the signers, that business?
I don't think I can go there, Bob. I can't
Well,
really.
let's leave it
decipher
out.
the-
You know,
Yeah,
I suggest that we try to work something out in this regard that will be unanimously approved by the commission, that everyone on the commission will like, and we can then turn around and let people know that that's where we got. If not unanimous, close to it. That's my suggestion.
I've got Dave and then Dick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I support what Bob and Paul are saying. It would be great to regulate signature gathering. I don't think it would be that big of a deal to not regulate signature gathering in the county. So I definitely think that reducing the number of signatures required would be a great benefit to the right of initiative in this county.
yeah.
Dick?
Well, I made the point the first time around on this that I thought 8% was too low, and I did vote against it the first time around. And that is my inclination, Bob, just so you know, you're not likely to get, I mean, I'll keep an open mind while there's discussion, but you're not likely to get to unanimous because I think I'm going to oppose it. I am just kind of philosophically opposed to government by initiative.
Would 10% do?
Let's see where the discussion goes.
Bill?
As you know, from the voters pamphlet, I opposed it on the basis and on the sole basis of the cost allocation. And I would be strongly in support of resubmitting without that portion and without that portion only.
So Bill, just to clarify, you're saying keep in the identification piece?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments on this line of discussion? Okay, so Bob, are you about to throw a motion on the floor?
Well, I was going to suggest, I guess so.
Well, hey,
My motion would be,
before
wait.
you put a motion on the floor, let me state that it's what I would like to suggest for us is that tonight we do exactly what we're doing. We make sure we're very clear on where we want to go. And then if, for instance, this were to be a motion that the maker of the motion and others interested in that subject would circulate in the next 48 hours language, hang on, I'll get to you in one sec, Bill, to the full commission to look at. And then I'm going to ask that we have a special meeting on Monday at 4 p.m. And at that meeting, we would conclude any matters like this. So we would vote on the final language on something like this. And then we would also approve the resolution that will go to the county council, which needs some editing tonight. So that's not going to be ready tonight to vote upon. And so that's the thinking at this point. So now we can go on. So Bob, before I get back to you, let me go Bill and then Janet, and then we'll come back to you. Is that okay?
I think we've learned a lesson that we need to use the keep it simple. And I think I would support either with or without the identification. I think the more likely support would be to keep it simple and change only the percentage.
Yeah.
And not involve ourselves in whether we need to add bells and whistles. I think we've learned that those should be avoided. And so I would support it either way, but I'd support a simple change as to percentage more strongly.
Great. Thank you, Janet.
Kevin, I was just going to say procedurally, what you are suggesting is probably the best way of doing this because we have nothing on here that says we're going to entertain new amendments for the 2022.
Mhm.
So, I mean, there's nothing on this agenda and the public wouldn't know that we were even doing this. So I
Yeah.
suggest that your short meeting is the best way of doing this.
Yep. Yep. Thank you. Okay, I have Bob and then Tom.
I'd like to make a motion to ask the chair of the committee that handled this. Was that you, Dave, or Dave and Anne Marie, or
Patty,
Patty,
It was
or Patty? I'm sorry, Patty. Patty was the chair. To ask Patty to, in whatever fashion she would care to do, and talking to whomever she thought was important to talk to try to fashion an amendment out of what remains here that would capture the approval of either all or as many of the commissioners as we can. If we got unanimous approval, that would be fantastic. And Dick, we can probably get a highway in your district if you should decide to switch votes in this matter. Anyway, that's
I have Tom and then Patty. And the one comment I would make in response to Janet, the
You
conclusion.
got to know when to hold, you got to know when to fold them. It's time to fold them, troops. I think our work is basically done and this is a ridiculous venture.
Thank you, Tom.
I disagree, but I like hearing you sing, Tom.
Oh, well, I'd be glad to sing for the other 45 minutes.
Patty?
I only just wanted to say that when we did this as a committee, we intended for each of these to be standalone measures. And as soon as they had to be combined, I knew probably we were not going to get funded because people would not understand what we were talking about with the financial one. It's a really difficult area to get your mind around. But initially, we wanted each of these three to be separate. And of course, we had 21 amendments at the time. So they were combined. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you. So, and in response to Janet, to your comment, under conclusion of commission work and next steps was how I felt this actually was within the agenda, but I totally agree with you that we should not ratify anything as far as additional amendments until the next meeting on Monday to make sure that it is properly advertised for anybody who cares to be engaged in that conversation. And so with that, I see Maureen's hand.
okay. I just want to say simply, I think this is a good idea. I think this was an important measure. I agree with Paul and Bill. Keep it simple. Let's just go for the percentage and let's explain that to the voters better. So I'm with that.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so just quickly, let me ask, are there any other, do any commissioners have any other new, I'm going to call it a new idea, but any other ideas they would like to think about for the 2022 ballot? I'm hoping I don't, Bob?
okay. I don't want to keep yakking, but the idea of looking at some of the things that failed and looking at recommendations possibly. For instance, somebody, I don't recall whether it was Paul or someone had suggested at some point in one of these recommendations that failed, I think it was maybe the Climate Commission, that he thought that we ought to have made a strong recommendation as to what we felt about what the important things were for the climate department that had been created to deal with. And absent a successful proposition, maybe a recommendation in that regard would be appropriate. And would it be appropriate to look at a couple of our others that have failed to see if there's some sort of recommendation that could come out of those that would be helpful to the council or to the departments that are now handling matters?
So I want to point out, and I'm not sure if you saw it, Bob, but I actually think that we can spike the football and declare victory on climate and environment because the county
Okay.
council obviously heard us. They created the department, and then shockingly or coincidentally, I don't know how you want to look at it, the same week the ballots dropped, they announced that they were going to create a climate commission. So they are creating a commission. So they obviously heard us. and paid attention to what we were requesting and have done so, or at least are doing so, or publicly have stated they are doing so. So I'm actually feeling really positive about that one. There may be others. However, I want to go back to Bill and Tom, and I can't believe I'm going to try and channel those two. But I will say, keep it simple. I think, we spent a lot of time getting really deep into some subject matter, and that was a good thing that we did. We researched a lot of different issues. We listened to thousands of people's input and came up with the best recommendations we could, and half of them have passed. And two others then the county council is doing already now because of our work. So that's a good thing. But I think Tom is correct that our work is, I hope, very close to being finished. I think this discussion about maybe bringing back one more for 2022 on initiative and referendum and keeping it simple, it seems that there's a lot of support on the commission for that. I personally would be reluctant to start supporting many others coming back up. We don't want a bunch of zombie bills running around, is what we used to call them in the legislature. When things just keep resurrecting themselves. I don't think that's necessarily helpful at this point. And that's just my personal opinion. As chair, I will obviously, try and facilitate a conversation of anybody's idea that they want to bring back forward or new ideas. That's your prerogative as an individual commissioner. But I would hope that we're looking at concluding our work by the end of the month.
Yeah, agreed.
So for this other amendment, Bob was volunteering Patty, which I found amusing. And
Didn't get a second.
So, okay. But the point is, if there's a new issue there that we want to bring back, or we'll call it a new amendment for 2022, some people need to take that on, be willing to circulate language, I would say by Friday, so that we can share that with the public. And then we would go, we would adopt that or not adopt that to be on the 2022 ballot at our Monday meeting. So I'll pause there, but that's the thinking right now. And then Jane, I see your hand is up.
Kevin, I've had mine up also.
Sorry, Liz, and then Jane.
And Kevin, I'm not responding to your current train of thought, so I'm happy to hold mine. Mine has to do with your earlier question.
Okay. Jane, were you on this current line of discussion?
No, I'm not either, related to what Bob just talked about, but not on the current line. Thank you.
Okay, so let's go to Liz and then Jane.
So somebody should just mute me or shoot me, one of the two.
I hope neither.
So there was some conversation, I don't know, a while back about some sort of action so that future charter review commissions didn't go through the process, didn't experience what we experienced in terms of what appear to be or could be interpreted as preemptive actions on the part of county council. And as someone who is new to the political realm, I find this really challenging to get to clarity about what occurred and why it occurred. And it's hard for me to, excuse me, it's hard for me to not interpret it or see it as an undermining of our form of democracy, which is home rule charter. So since the charter is only reviewed, excuse me, sorry. Since the charter is only reviewed once every 10 years, and you have a group of, you're shaking your heads, is that incorrect?
It's incorrect.
Oh, I thought we don't.
It could be reviewed as frequently as every 2 years.
Okay,
It
but
must be
it's
reviewed
only-
every 10 years minimum.
Historically, it's,
yeah.
Since it isn't reviewed that often, to have the county council take action while you have an elected body of people, earnest, committed community members trying to do the best they can for their community, to have it work out the way it did, where county council does something. And yes, I'm with you, Kevin, that we can declare this a win and celebrate it. Absolutely. The problem is that some of the issues we wanted in the charter are still not in the charter, which means when the county council changes, or even before they changes, they can write it out as simply as they wrote it in. And to me, and I am totally willing to be talked out of this or have a deeper understanding of it. But from my perspective, what we've witnessed and participated in is an undermining of our form of democracy, which includes the Home Rule Charter. And when the work of the commission is, what is that, end run, whatever it is in football, then that undermines the process of the people who were elected to represent the whole county and whatever necessary changes need to occur. So I don't know what to do about that. I don't know if that's a recommendation. I don't know if it's a letter to the editor. I don't know if it's a sit down with county council. I just know I'm leaving this body of work really distressed to have been a part of something that seems to have further divided our county than contributed to our county. I did not run to do that. I did not want to have any part of that. And yet I feel that's part of the legacy that we're leaving. And I don't know what to do about it. I don't know when to do something about it, but I'm distressed to have been part of what appears to be an undermining of our form of democracy.
I have Jane and then Bill. Jane, are you there?
You're muted. There you go.
Sorry, yeah, I apologize. I'm here. My daughter was just calling through. Yeah, and I'm gonna have to come back in terms of another hand raised, but first of all, I fully support what Liz just said, and for me, it begs the question of a potential additional amendment for the next election, frankly, and I would be very ready to put a motion that goes on the agenda for the next meeting we have to have, because our work is not done. And this, to my second point, that I need to discuss a little bit more with all of you, that I can't in this moment right now because my daughter is trying to reach me. But with regard to the non-approval of Proposition 6, with regard to the Justice, Equity, and Inclusion Commission, I respect the vote of the majority in that regard. At the same time, I sort of defer to, I do defer to Bob's point, which is what can we put forward to our county council with respect to the importance of the work that went into the idea of creating such a commission. So I'm challenged by the fact that absent of a majority of votes for the creation of such a commission, I'm challenged by the sustained need for such a body, and I need to talk to you all about that. And yeah, so thanks. That's all I have to say. I have to just speak with my daughter right now. I'm sorry. Thank you.
I believe Bill was next.
Yeah, I just think that I sympathize and understand with the emotional reaction to the county's action. What we could have done is immediately after the county formed the department, we could have organized it into a separate body directly under the county council instead of the manager. We had the power to do that, but we have to remember that we are organizational in our charter. We cannot allocate the county's powers. That is unconstitutional. As to those powers, we cannot say, county, don't do anything while we think about what we want to do and get it to the voters. We don't have that power. In that respect, the county council is the senior body, and there should be no misunderstanding of that. And there has been, which I think has led us astray. And I regret it because there are tears, there is blood, and I'm sorry to see it, but it's just the law.
Bob?
I was initially quite upset in the vein that Liz was about what appeared to be, subterfuge and moving around. But having been able to think about it and stepping back from it for a moment, I don't feel that way anymore. In the first place, we were not elected to become the lawgivers. We are the proposers. We knocked the ideas together and asked the people what they think. Well, the people told us what they thought. In the meantime, we did the best that we could. The city council, county council, did not tell us, you can't put that proposal on the ballot. We're going to supersede that. They just did their thing, and we went ahead and put our proposal on the ballot. And the public said, no, thank you to a couple of them. Okay. So that's kind of the way I end up coming down on that. I think it was a little bit, questionable or sneaky or whatever, but I would agree that the result is a good one. We now have both a department and a commission that the public was unwilling to approve of, but the city council put into effect anyway. Yay! So, think about that and about what a good result that is. And that was because of the hard work of the people who worked on those things. And that's very much appreciated. But we need to get up off of the idea that we're writing laws or even that we're writing the charter, because we don't write the charter. We put out some things that are ideas and we say, what do you think, public? And they tell us that's democracy. Democracy has really worked well here. Mm-hmm. It doesn't please all of us, but that's what happened, in my opinion.
Maureen?
I appreciate what Bob just said. And I just want to remind everybody that being elected to the Charter Review is not easy. It is never going to be accepted by a lot of people. And there's plenty of blame to go around. And if we really want to look at what has happened here, we should also include an audit of ourselves. Did we campaign enough with these things? Did we do enough to push the word out to the public? There's a lot we can talk about, and maybe we can do that when we've concluded our work. But this was never going to be a popularity contest, and we weren't gonna be the cheerleaders that led the day. This is a very different body, and opposition is natural. It's natural with the government. I'm disappointed in some things, but I understand it all, and I hope to help those who are not feeling great about it or disappointed. I'd love to talk with you offline and just help you understand this is full circle, and we really are close to done.
Others? Dave.
You're muted, Dave.
About that. I'll just say real quick, I once had a great conversation with the state director of elections. His name's Don White, and he saw a lot of initiatives go up and down. And his theory was that it's it's good if about half the initiatives or proposals fail. It shows that the public is hearing and this process is bringing new ideas forward that are good and should be adopted, but also that some of the ideas that are going forward they're not what the public wants, and that the public is discerning. And so I think we should feel good that we put some difficult ideas forward here, but we also put some really good ones. And I think you always go with what people say. So I feel great about this process so far. Thank you.
Okay. If folks don't mind, I'd like to pull us back on the agenda. Sorry, I'm just trying to read. Thank you. Actually, that's exactly what I'm going to get to. So let me pull us back into next steps. So our final what I hope will be our final presentation to the County Council is scheduled for November 29th, Monday. Any and all commissioners are welcome to attend. I hope to be there in person. And at that point, we will be presenting our resolution and our amendments and our recommendations. I think it's an opportunity. Some of our recommendations, if I can quickly go there, all of our recommendations are very important. Some of them are going to, and frankly, already have a lot of community interest. And so this is our opportunity to sit down in front of the County Council and say, hey, we really hope you do this. And a comment was made earlier about how much we did or did not campaign on the amendments that were on the ballot a couple of weeks ago. I found that too often when you're on a group like this, you spend so much energy and time coming up with the recommendations that you're totally burnt out and fried by the time you've developed the recommendations. And that's really the time when you have to get to work. The work starts then, because it's about implementing those recommendations. So with the recommendations to the County Council, I would hope that we don't feel like our work is done on the 29th, that we go public and we make sure the public knows why we're putting forward these recommendations to our County Council. And then we hold our County Council's feet to the fire that they continue to pursue those in the best way they possibly can. And with the other amendments, those will be on the ballot. So it'll be an up or down vote a year from now on those ballot measures. So to move forward, what I would like to suggest is that if folks want to, there was discussion of bringing back the initiative and referendum in a simpler form. Are there individuals this evening who would like to volunteer to lead that effort? And Bob, you don't get to volunteer somebody else, but if you want to volunteer, I would like to know who's the lead on that. So I see Dave's hand. Are you saying yes, you'd volunteer on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there others who would work with Dave?
I'll work with him too.
Good.
Okay, so Patty and Bob and Bill.
Paul had his hand up.
Paul as well. Okay, great.
Very valuable.
I believe someone just brought up that Bob's motion is still on the floor. I don't know if it got a second, did it?
It doesn't need to.
I didn't think it got a second. So that motion was not on the floor appropriately then. So let me be clear. Bill, you have a comment or a question?
I had a motion.
Okay, go ahead.
I move that we prepare a new version of the initiative proposition that makes the sole change being the percent of signers necessary.
Second.
That then it be considered at the next meeting.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on the floor under discussion. Sharon, you had your hand up. Would you like to comment under discussion, or is it a different matter?
Well, I had a different question, but I would like to clarify that to be clarified more.
You're asking that the motion be clarified more?
Yes.
The motion, as I understood it, was that a subgroup of people, it was moved by Bill, seconded by Paul, that folks will come back. And I would like to ask that they come back before Friday close of business so that we can publish this appropriately. So I'd say Friday at noon, that they come back with an amendment for the 2022 ballot that, as Bill stated, would solely remove the financial piece, I believe.
Oh, that's not what he said.
Okay, I'm sorry.
He said would solely deal with the percent.
Okay,
That's right.
thank you. Thank you. I got it.
Correct.
I reversed it. Sorry. Okay. So that's the motion that's on the table. So under discussion, Bob.
Discussion. I obviously am going to vote for the motion, but I hope that the group that is doing this would conduct some kind of poll or whatever with the commissioners I'm talking about, to find out the right number so we can maximize the number of commissioners who we get, because I think it would be very influential with the public to say we were unanimous, or we were 17 out of 18 or something of that nature, so that many of the people who were the loyal opposition, and in some instances the successful loyal opposition last time out, would now be in favor of this and could show that to folks.
Bill?
My motion inherently included using the percentage that we originally had in our proposal. We went through this once, and I understand and respect Dr. Grout, but I don't want to repeat the process. We've been through it.
Yeah,
That's the
agreed.
mo- That's the motion.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I thought Dick and Tom.
I thought I understood the motion until what Bill just said. Are we saying that the motion is that the percentage would change from some other number to 8%? The financial requirement that is already in the charter would remain, and the paid signature gatherer, or identifying paid signature gatherers, would disappear? Is that the motion?
That is correct. It's the simplest possible change, Dick. The only thing we change is the percentage. Everything else stays exactly the same.
Okay.
I'm not, so what you're saying is everything stays the same except the percentage changes?
The
So the-
percentage changes to what we proposed.
Bill, hang on. Let me see if I can paraphrase it.
Okay.
So it would be a brand new amendment. Forget what was or was not on the ballot. The new amendment would be, we're changing the percentage signature requirement from 15 to 8%.
Period.
That's correct.
Period.
And that's the
Period.
only change.
That's the
Okay.
motion.
Got
The
it.
only change.
Okay. Under discussion, Dick?
Oh, so, okay, then I misunderstood again. So we're not talking about changing the percentage from what we already did. It's going to stay at 8% if the proposal goes forward.
That's correct.
That's
Okay.
correct. We're amending the charter, not our proposal. We're amending the
Okay.
charter.
Okay,
The previous amendment failed at the ballot. It's done. That's no longer exists. So we're solely talking about a new amendment for 2022.
That's
that,
right.
as the motion and the second have clarified, does one thing. It changes the percentage of signature required from 15%, which is currently in the charter, to 8%.
Yep.
Okay.
Call the question.
So is there any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed?
No,
Okay. Tom and Dick are opposed. Jane, is the thumbs up at that point in time? Was that opposed?
In favor.
In favor. Okay. Okay. So the motion carries. Oh, sorry. Any abstentions? Sorry. Any abstentions? Tony, you're an abstention? Yes. Okay. So motion.
Hang on a second. I thought Dick and Tony were both voting opposed. Are you both abstaining, or Dick?
I just wanted to make,
Let me read what I have right now, and then you guys tell me if I've got it. I had everybody in favor except for Tom and Dick voting opposed and Tony abstaining. Okay, so the motion carries. Okay, I would like to ask again, I just want to clarify that those of you working on that amendment have it sent. It doesn't need to go through me. When you have the language, we don't want 10 different versions of language. When you have final language, if you could send it to the listserv so that everybody receives it by noon. And then Olivia, if you can help me make sure that Catherine gets that out. So it's public as well at the same time. So Friday, and then we also need to advertise a special meeting for 4 p.m. on Monday, and it will probably be a 4 to 6. Geez, let me look at my own calendar while I'm doing that.
I will,
Yeah.
I will get a draft out to Patty, Paul, who else is on the committee?
Dave Anderson.
Okay, yeah, I'll get that out tomorrow.
Bob will
Thank you,
come.
Bill. Okay,
just-
go ahead.
I just wanted to point out, in case there was any confusion, that we did not just vote to approve the amendment.
That's right.
We just voted to have a committee come up with the amendment for Monday.
Yes, yes.
To propose it.
That is, thank you for that clarification. That's very important clarification. No, we did not vote on an amendment. We voted for a committee to work on this and get back to us with a recommendation. So Dick.
I just want to state so all of you know, the reason I voted no is, which I said the first time around when we originally did this, I think 8% is too low. And I object to doing away with the identification of paid signature gatherers. So it's for those reasons that I voted no.
Thank you. Okay, so we've only got a few minutes before 2 minutes before public comment, and then we're going to conclude. And so let me ask now, I see one member of the public here, I believe. Are there any let's go into public comment at this point in time, and then we'll conclude with some business matters. So are there any members of the public that would care to comment at this point in time? Any members of the public care to comment? Okay, with that, we will close public comment. So I was going to ask if our executive committee would be willing to get together over the next couple of days, but I don't know if we actually need it to be for housekeeping, but I don't know if we need everybody. But what we need is Maureen and I and some others have been working on the resolution. It'd be great if a few of us at least could get together to finalize that, and we will be under the same timeline where we share that with the full commission by Friday, so that you have time to review it. And then we will be adopting that resolution on Monday by vote. So are there others that are willing to work with Maureen and I on finalizing the resolution?
What resolution are you pointing to?
Sorry, so that we will do a resolution to conclude our work. We have a draft. It's very close. I mean, I think in a half an hour, maybe an hour meeting, because we all talk too much, we'll finish this. But the resolution basically is the formal document that we will adopt by vote, that we will submit to the county council and to the attorney. And it will basically say, it basically describes our work. It says for this last ballot, we submitted 6. We're submitting now 4 for the 2022 ballot. And then it says, and we have these recommendations. So it's just a formal way to say, you know, this is what we did in our work process. It's the appropriate usage of a resolution, actually, is to describe a process or celebrate something like that. Too often resolutions are used to try and do policy, which I wholeheartedly disagree with.
No, this is
Olivia?
When are you wanting to meet? I might be able to help.
I think we can work that out amongst ourselves. So right now I have, and thank you, Olivia. So I have Olivia, Maureen, Bob, I saw your hand. Kevin, who else was going to help with the resolution? Patty?
Richard, do you still want to do that?
If we pick a time, I'm available. Yes, I got a bunch of things going on, but if I'm available, I will.
So Richard, Dick, you're in there? Okay.
Yeah.
And Paul, were you as well?
Oh, I can be if you want me to.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Sure.
That gets to be too many. I could drop out.
No, that's 7. That's perfect. So I will email all of you some potential times, either tonight or tomorrow morning. You'll get an email from me.
Kevin?
Yeah.
May I just ask a question? I'm going to point this at Olivia, just because I think as vice chair, you might have better access. What we need is a list of the recommendations. And Megan sent things out in clumps. We need to get the recommendations with the findings that were attached to them. And then we need a short list of all the recommendations in order to move this forward. Can you help us with that?
Yeah, and to Janet's point in the chat, the recommendations are on the county website. I don't know if the findings are associated with them as well. But Olivia, if you could take that on.
And totally do a short list.
Okay, awesome. So Olivia, I'm actually going to ask then if I can get more of your help then, because if you can do that, if you could then send that out to the group. So it's Olivia, Maureen, Bob, Kevin, Patty, Dick, and Paul are the team working on this. So if you could send us what you have, and then Maureen, if you could send the draft resolution to that group that we have, and then I think that we just circulate it and we say, okay, when can we get together? And I really do think that in an hour meeting, we can probably conclude this.
Absolutely.
So, okay,
Who
great.
did I miss? Excuse me, Kevin, Dick, Paul, Olivia, Bob.
Olivia, Maureen, Bob, Kevin, Patty, Dick,
Patty.
Paul.
Thank you. Got it.
Okay. Okay. And so then Olivia, you'll take care of making sure that Catherine or others are posting the meeting for 4 o'clock on Monday.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Tom, I see your hand.
Yeah, some of my constituents think that this executive committee is a very mysterious body. So I assume it'll be advertised and open to the public to tune in on Zoom.
No.
No,
It's a work group. So, and this isn't the executive committee. This is 7 of us getting together to do what we just said, which is finalize the resolution. And hopefully it happens tomorrow, so we wouldn't even be able to advertise it. There's no secrets here. It's just getting together to do work. And with only 7 of us, that's completely legal.
Plus, Kevin, this executive group is not empowered to make any decisions at all.
Yeah, exactly. All we're doing, that's a very important point. There's no decisions, and nor have there been any decisions in any executive committee or any other sidebar discussions that have taken place. There is exclusively a handful of us getting together to do some work and then bring back that work for public discussion and approval by the full commission. So
Let's call it a study group instead of an executive group. I think it's-
yeah. Well, like I said, this isn't even that executive group that we had anyway. So this is a work group. That's it. So, and just to be clear then, so on Monday, we will be adopting the resolution. We will have the recommendations and the amendments ready to be reviewed. There will be a 4th amendment now that will need to be voted upon. And then on the 29th of November, we will be presenting to the county council. The resolution will state that we will conclude our work on the 30th. I think it's important that we actually be in office and be office holders when we do that presentation to the county council. And so the following day, we will be concluding our work, and the resolution that we would adopt on Monday would state that. And so if folks are okay with that, I think that could be a good way for us to conclude our work and move forward with our final steps. Nodding. Okay. With that, I would see you all Monday and happily accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Great. Thank you all very much. We'll see you Monday. Have a great week.
Can you stay on 1 minute?
I have to get